Hello and welcome. I am Chase here with Christian. We are your RMFantasySX experts. We're going to be coming to you guys each and every week before every round of Supercross to give you key stats and statistics on riders as well as tracks to help you guys maximize your points for RMFantasySX. Now, if you're new to this, if you have not played before, do not worry about it. You can click on the link when we're all done here. We have a how-to video. I show you step-by-step how to get signed up and how to play. Now, in a nutshell, it's very simple. You pick your top 5 riders. You think you're going to finish in the top 5 for each week plus a wild card. You're given points after each round. And the best part is it is absolutely free. And you can play with your friends. You can play with your family. And it makes Monster Energy Supercross a whole lot more fun. The best part is, though, we've got some killer prizes this year. What do we got?
Prizes. The big thing, RMFantasySX is known for is the big prizes, and it's free to play. So this year we got a factory KTM 450 and 250 SX for first and second place, along with some VIP trips to the Energy Cup. Get your own rider name and number in the new MX vs ATV game, and even more. So they're huge.
Yeah, well, over $50,000.
Over $50,000 worth of prizes.
$50,000. And the best part is we have weekly prizes. We have 10 weekly winners for every round. So even if you get a late start throughout the season, or if maybe you miss a round by accident, you can still have a chance to win really good weekly prizes. So don't ever count yourself out. Now, going into this year, Anaheim 1. It's going to be the biggest anticipated race of the year, obviously, because everyone is healthy, except for Barsha. Unfortunately, we just learned. Wrist injury.
Out for A1 at least, so make sure he's out of your picks.
Jake Weimer is filling in for him. Keep that in mind. But Anaheim 1. Everyone is shooting to be up there on the box. Everyone wants to win. A lot of hype around this race. But before we dive into that, talk too much about who we think is going to be in the top 5, who we think is going to win. There are some big changes this offseason. We saw a lot of riders changing teams, changing bikes. Some of the teams changed bikes, and also some rule changes. So what do we got, Christian?
So we got the hardcore fans are going to know most of these, but for the casual fans that didn't keep up, we got biggest news: Ken Roxon moving from RCH to HRC Honda.
Okay.
We saw him in the Energy Cup. We'll talk about him later. JGR switching from Yamaha to Suzuki. The new Rocky Mountain ATV MC race team with Baggett and Millsaps. Kennard switching to an orange
Breaks
bike.
my
Still
heart.
Looks weird.
Breaks my heart, but I'll get over it.
We'll get used to it.
Okay.
Bogle to RCH. And Josh Grant getting a new deal on Monster Energy Kawasaki.
Yeah,
So,
and I am pumped for him.
yeah. Big ride for him. I mean, I hope he does good. So.
Me too. So yeah, we saw a lot of big team changes throughout the year, rider changes, but a really big one that didn't come till almost, maybe a month ago or so, is we now have a rule change with main events. We used to have 20-lap main events, 20 laps, you're done. Now they're doing timed events.
Yep.
And so what this means is that rather than having anywhere from a 15 to 20-minute main event, every main is going to be at least 20 minutes. Some are going to be upwards of 23, 24 minutes, which means more endurance. It also means more time for riders to pass others in a main. What do you think about it, Christian?
I mean, it's going to help the fit guys and hurt the guys with less stamina. So it's going to definitely make an impact right away. So
Yeah.
We'll talk about the riders we think it's going to impact negatively or positively here in a minute. So.
Absolutely. And then the last thing we'll talk about before we get into it is we got a couple 250 riders that we know are going to be coming into the big boy class. Malcolm Stewart, Cooper Webb.
Should be on your radar.
But is
week.
Malcolm showing up?
We don't know what's going on with Malcolm. You're going to have to check the timing at A1, the practice, but I'll be more shocked if he's not there. I mean, he should be. He's a 250 champion last year. No ride, but we'll see what he does.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything. Nobody is saying if he is showing up, Malcolm especially. And
we hope he's there.
I hope he's
Whether
there.
you like him or not, it's better when he's there.
But he's stayed very quiet, so you won't know. Again, just check timing and scoring. If his name shows up there, because he's going to be a top 10 guy, I think, in speed-wise. If you see his name, he's there. If not, well,
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Mookie later on. The other one, Cooper Webb.
Multiple 250 champion, outdoor champion, led the team at Des Nations this year on a 450, so he's another rider we'll get into here in a minute.
Yeah, so Cooper Webb, lots of anticipation. All right, so we all know who the big names are. And every year, a lot of people will always put who they think is going to be in their top 5. Maybe it's because of riders that won the year before. A lot of you guys, a lot of us, I've done it before, we pick with our hearts.
We learn the hard way.
We do learn the hard way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take riders that we think are potential top 5 guys for round 1, but we're going to compare them head-to-head with another rider and tell you guys who we think is going to finish the better out of the two. Now, the first pairing that we have is Dungey and Muskin. What do you got on that?
2 guys, definitely fast on the same team. For this round, at least, I don't have Muscan in my top 5 at all. A lot of people don't realize that his average finish for the West Coast last year was over 10th. I mean, I think he finished 14th at A1 last year. It's just not his race. He doesn't like the coast. It's not just an Anaheim thing.
Something's in the dirt.
He doesn't like West Coast dirt for some reason and doesn't do well. So him, I kind of, out of my top 5 type of thinking. Ryan Dungey, I mean, I know he's Mr. Consistent. He only missed the podium 1 time last year. Won the most amount of races.
What was the season average last year?
It was 1.3 on the West.
1.3 on the West.
So he's winning way more than he's losing, but he's never won an A1. So he's definitely should be in your top 5. I'm just not putting him in my top spot.
So we both left Musquin. We both think Musquin's out of the top 5 for A1.
He's no chance making my top 5.
Okay. Next pairing we have is Roczen and Tomac. I'm going to take the reins on this one. Roczen moved to HRC Honda. Big change, 3-year deal. A lot of pressure on Roczen, but saw him at Monster Cup, killed it, threw away the second moto. We all watched that, but his starts were on point, and he had very little time on the bike up to then. So if he was that good already, and they've done nothing but just work and work and work to get that bike how he wants it, I don't see why Roczen isn't going to be your first or second place guy.
The races he won, he ran away with, so no one was reeling him in.
And now you've got Tomac. So Tomac, we saw him in the Monster Cup as well. Yes, he won the overall, but however, Roczen was walking away in the first moto. The last moto, Roczen came back and won. But Tomac's had a full year on the Cowie. We know his shoulders are better. And he showed in outdoors, he had flashes of speed. He did beat Roczen straight up a couple of times. But I'm still going to give the edge to Roczen, even though it is on the new bike, because I just can't trust Tomac to get a better start than around 5th place.
It's almost like his starts and the longer races might even out.
Yeah, the longer races might help Tomac out, but with how stacked the field is,
there's not a lot of passing.
If you're not a good starter and you have 3 or 4 dudes that are all going to be high-level guys in front of you, good luck getting up there because it is going to be tough. So I've got Roczen ahead of Tomac. Next one up, one of my favorite pairings.
Seeley and Anderson.
Seeley and Anderson, yep.
We always love when they get together on the track. There's always something to talk about afterwards.
This could be the next Pike Freezy episode.
Could be. I mean, I love them both. I like when they get together. So if it had to come down to it, I'm putting Anderson ahead of Seeley. They're probably, Anderson will probably end up in my 2nd spot, somewhere around there. He always does well in A1. I mean, his average finishes in A1 on 450s is 1.5.
Yeah, he won it last year.
He's doing good there, and I just feel like if you're going to put him high up for any race, this is the one you do it for. When you get to Seeley, a lot less likely, a lot less talked about type of guy, but I don't know why. I mean, he got the whole shot last year, led 13 laps.
Yeah.
And was on the podium. 2nd round on the podium. So he's kind of a more solid guy for your picks, but I don't see him going that extra mile to get the win.
Okay.
I could see Anderson take the win more likely. So.
All right. Well, I will respectfully disagree. I actually have Seeley picked to do better than Anderson. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder with Roczen coming over, taking sort of some of the limelight from him. And if you look at Seeley, 5 out of the first 4, or let's see, top 5 in 4 out of the first 7 rounds last year. So you know he's a top 5 candidate. So if you don't put Seeley in your top 5 or Anderson, I think you're crazy.
Both of them in your top 5 for sure.
Okay. Now, those are, like we said, head-to-head guys. Guys that most people are going to be putting in their top 5. Those are who we think is going to do better out of the 2. But every week, there's always going to be that one guy. It's like, who the heck? Or where did this guy come from? Like, where did he get that burst of speed? Or are you kidding me? So we call these your weekly spoilers. Now, weekly spoilers, again, guys that most people aren't going to put in the top 5.
But should be in the debate.
But if you saw in the top 5 at the end of the night, you'd be like, yeah, Mike, okay, makes sense.
Perfect example, last year, only 3% of our fantasy players put Seeley and Tomac in the top 5. They both finished in the top 5. So
3%? That's
3%. So
dang.
Don't make that mistake this year.
Yeah. So who do you got for your weekly spoilers then?
The ones I'm kind of on the fence with is going to be Blake Baggett.
Okay.
He's on the new team. He's healthy. He's fit. He took the whole shot at the Energy Cup. I mean, if he can come out, take a whole shot, or get a solid start in A1, I don't see the stamina being as much of an issue for him. So he could hang tight up top and maybe pull out a top 5. I mean, we hope he does. So.
Rumors going around that he is flying on the test track.
A lot of buzz.
A lot of buzz about Baggett right now. Okay.
He should definitely be on your radar. Another one is Cooper Webb. I mean, he's a champion. He's led the MX Nations USA team on a 450. There's just certain riders I feel like when they move up might be a little timid, scared. He's not one of them. He's going to come in. I feel like he could bulldoze his way up there. He's going to block pass when he needs to. He's going to cut off when he needs to.
Yeah.
he's a hard charger. So
I root for
even
Webb.
as a rookie.
I really do with all my heart. The 450, he's a little guy. We've heard a lot of people talking about it. Can he ride the 450 like he rode a 250 and just say, I'm better than you, get out of my way? He's not going to be able to bully people around as well. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how Cooper Webb does. So for me, I've got Chad Reed as one of my weekly spoilers, one of my guesses. I'm kind of going with my heart here. Reed, 34 years old, but he's second year on the bike. He's looking confident, and I know he wants to go out with a bang and prove himself. So last year, Reed got 5th place overall for the whole year, and he got 6th to A1, and then he had a 5.44 average on the West last year.
On the West, he's in there.
He's in there. So on the West, in those first few races, he's in there. So I would not be surprised. And he went 6th, second last year.
Yeah.
So to say that Reed could not potentially be in the top 5, I think is insane. I'm not going to put him in there, but if he showed up in top 5,
no one's going to be surprised.
I wouldn't at all.
And we want to see the stadium erupt if he, when he gets in there. So.
And the other guy I have is Davey Millsaps on the Rocky Mountain ATV WPS, KTM team. He's been there before. In 13, he was a title contender. He won races. He's won an A1. He's looking good, second year on the bike. Easily, I think Millsaps could find himself in the top 5. So again, if you guys are out there and you see Millsaps, don't be surprised because I told you he could end up in the top 5. So those are our spoilers.
Let's do it. That's the easy part.
Yeah, what's the hard part?
Top 5. Everybody's going to have a pretty common group of riders up in there. Now we get to where you make up your points, where the champions make their moves.
Yeah, now you guys, Christian, he's a stats expert. That's what he does. This guy is one of the founding fathers of RMFantasySX, so listen to him because the stats that we're about to give you are going to make or break your season. I can tell you that right now because wild card, like you said,
it's it. If you're going to do good in fantasy, you do good on the wild card.
Yep.
You have to hit it multiple times.
Because everyone's going to have a round where they don't do very well or 2 or 3 of your riders, for whatever reason, might be a pileup, aren't going to finish. So you've got to make up points somewhere. A lot of that's going to come from wild card. So who do you got for your wild card? 7th place, right?
Yep, this round, 7th place. There's a lot of riders on my radar, the ones you really got to hone in on, make sure they look right, and during practice and everything, is Justin Brayton's my top guy right now. I mean, he had an average finish of 9th place last year. He's a veteran. He's on a new team. He's been in the top 5s before, and he's finished 7th last year twice. He finished 8th overall. So just everything you look at from like a race to a season, he's somewhere around, the 7th-9th range.
Okay.
So I could see him being up there. Another one I have on my radar is Kennard. We all love him. He's on a new team. I think we pick with our heart a lot with him. I mean, his results just haven't been there lately, but on that team, I see him making moves, coming up there. He qualified first there last year.
You know he has the speed. It's just it's a new bike.
He needs to start. He needs to ride smart. So.
All right, I've actually got Trey Kennard as my wild card pick in 7th as well because I see him. Yeah, he's on the new team, but we know Trey has the speed. And I think last year qualified first, finished 7th in A1. I think he's going to end up right around that same mix this year. So I've got Trey in my wildcard spot. Another one we put on there or that I see is we've got Weston Pike, finished 8th 3 times last year. I think he's another one of those sleepers. Going back to Suzuki.
In the range, yeah.
A bike that he was already on that he's comfortable with before they went to Yamaha. So I think Weston feels at home. I see him being right around that 7th place. So that would be a pretty good pick if you were not really sure who you thought was going to be up there.
I agree.
All right, so there you go. So we've talked about head-to-head. We've talked about weekly spoilers. There you had the wild card picks that we have. Now it's time to lock them in. It's a key. Turning it. I'm locking this. We're going to give you guys our top 5s for the week, who I think is going to be in top 5 plus the wild card. Then Christian will give you his. And we would love it if you guys would debate and argue with us because you're probably going to think we're crazy with some of the picks that we have, and that is okay. We will see who is better at the end of the week. So for me, I've got Roxon.
Taking the win.
Taking the win. Roxon's doing it. Roxon, he's already won A1. Tomac, 2nd place. He's going to get a top 5 start. I have faith. Okay, the Green Machine's going to be in the top 5. I've got Cole Seeley, 3rd place. Chip on his shoulder. Roxon came in, stole the glory. I think Cole wants it back, even though he's going to be 3rd, not 1st. 4th place, I've got Dungy.
Off the podium.
Off the podium,
so
yes, I know, chill out. Ryan Dungy, 4th place. Jason Anderson in 5th. And I've got Kennard as my wild card.
I like it.
What do you got?
Okay, 1st place, I'm going to agree with you on Roxon.
Okay.
Anderson, I bumped up to 2nd. I just feel like he has a speed in A1. I got faith in him, especially after the MXGP mishap. So third Dungy, fourth Sealy, and fifth Tomac, and wild card Justin Brayton.
Okay.
So that's who I have.
All right, Tomac in fifth.
Tomac in fifth. I just worry about his starts.
Okay.
That's all I worry about. So.
Well, I have a little more faith than you. I guess that's what it comes down to. All right, so there you see it. Those are our top 5. They are locked in. We cannot change our picks unless a rider gets hurt. No sense leaving a rider in there if you can't race the night show. Remember, guys, you have up till the night show begins to change your picks. But remember, doing that's going to change your timestamp. If there is a tie, tiebreaker goes to the player with the earlier timestamp. So keep that in mind if you are looking at changing your picks later on in the week or just before the night show begins. Now, before we send you off on your merry way, we got to talk about the good stuff. Weekly prizes.
Yes.
Here we go. What do we got this week?
We have 10 weekly prizes every round, but to start the season off right, Bell hooked it up with a Moto9 Carbon Flex.
That is right. Thank you, Bell. And I happen to have one right here in front of me.
Big shout outs to Bell. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
It's sexy.
Beautiful piece of protective
Could be yours.
equipment.
This could be yours.
Second
in.
place.
Second
Another
place.
one from TCX.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Comp Evo Michelin boots. Yes. Bring those home. It'll be a good day.
Take them home.
Yep.
Brock Tickle's wearing those boots. He rides for them. If you want to see what these look like on a rider, check out Brock Tickle coming up. He's on RCH Suzuki. You will see what those boots look like on a rider.
Over $500 value.
I know.
Free. Just take second.
Rock solid boots. So that's first and second place prize. We even got 10th place prize up here. What is that?
10th place, Scott comes in with the new Prospect goggles. If you don't have a pair already, you should. Win these for a backup. You'll be having a good time next time you go riding.
Remember, guys, that's 10th place, $100 pair of goggles. So if you want to see the other prizes that are up for grabs this week, go on the website, scroll down to RMFantasySX.com, click on weekly prizes. You can see everything that's up for grabs this week coming up. Remember, it pays to play RMFantasySX, free to play, get signed up. Now, last thing we are going to talk about is every year we see groups, we see people that come up with some pretty clever names that make us laugh. So just to call out some of our favorites. One of my favorites, Can't Read Good.
Can't Read Good. Always makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Original. Give me another one.
Honda Halsey, I will take credit. I came up with Honda Halsey because I ride a Honda and she beats me up and I take it.
Came to work with a black eye from her one day.
Yeah, but it's a love-hate thing. Honda Halsey's my girl.
I like it. Some of the ones that I noticed last year, Get Off My Hon, all the Gran Torino fans out there. Millsaps into a Slim Jim.
Bag it and tag
Bag it and tag it. And then the Mac Daddy of them all, Roxon Like a Hurricane.
Ooh, I like it.
I had to save that one. So if you guys got good names out there for your nickname, the groups, anything like that, make sure to comment.
Yeah, if we see a good one, we'll give you a shout out.
Give you some kind of shout out. Those are always fun. So
there you have it, guys. That is our first episode of RM Fantasy SXperts. Remember, sign up, click on the link, watch the how to play video if you don't know. Very simple to do. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions for our next episode, leave those below. Now remember, you probably think we're crazy with some of our picks. Maybe you don't. If you agree, disagree, it's okay. Comment below. We want to talk about it. We want to know what you guys are thinking that's going to happen up here in A1. So comment below. I'm Chase. This is Christian. We'll see you next time.